Good morning and welcome to Wisconsin Wednesday. My name is John Green with Association Member Benefits Advisors, and we're glad that you've joined us today. Just a couple of housekeeping details before we jump into our conversation regarding protecting your nest egg. All participants are in a listen-only mode, and what that means is if you want to chat or add a question or something like that, feel free to drop it into the comments, drop it into the chat section, the Q&A section, and we'll respond if it's something related to WREA. Lori or Diane or Annalise will respond to that. If it's something regarding the topic at hand, my co-host MJ Woodall or I will respond to that periodically. If we need to, we can stop the conversation and address it right at that point. Or if you even want to, at the end of the conversation today, what we'll do is we will stop the recording. You can hold up your hand on the reaction toolbar, and we'll be glad to answer your question live, unmute you in that regards from that standpoint. We do record every one of these sessions and put those out on the WREA website so that you can follow up and watch them later with a spouse, with a family member, or just kind of make some notes yourself and go back over them if you want to. So there's quite a good library growing out there. So I hope that you can take advantage of participating in that and jumping in with the education and the continuing education that WREA provides for their members. So Diane, I know we've got a lot of stuff coming up on the agenda, and it's exciting to get back in person. Why don't you tell us what's going on and how your members can get involved?
Okay, thanks, John, and good morning, everybody, and welcome. The first thing I want to talk about, and as John said, we're back in person, and our first in-person meeting will be April 27th, which is our spring district meeting. We're having one meeting for all of our district people, so everybody is invited. It's going to be at the Osthoff Resort in Elkhart Lake, and if you've ever been there, it's a beautiful venue. Might want to come early or stay late. It's well worth it. We have a packed day of information from speakers to some activities that'll get you moving, to time for the districts to meet with their chapters and fun activities. So it's a full day that you certainly will enjoy. If you have not registered yet, go to our website at www.wrea.net. And you can find that you register there. We hope that you will join us. And this is anybody is welcome. Any member, it's not just leadership people, it's anybody from the association is welcome. And then we have coming up this fall is our annual convention, which is September 27th and 28th. And we'll be at the Ingleside Hotel in Waukesha County. Again, that's a 2-day event, and we have breakout sessions, we have guest speakers, lots of fun, lots of activities going on. So hopefully you'll consider coming to Waukesha to see us at our convention. A couple of other things, just as a reminder, if you go to our website, under the events tab at the top, you'll see all of the events that we have scheduled for WREA, from book studies to webinars, to anything that you want, that you can register for and then join us on those events. And we keep adding, more events as they come up. So we have a lot of offerings for members. Even if you're a non-member, you could join us by going there. We certainly would like to see you there and join in our discussions and our reach out to members as we go forward. So again, thank you for being here this morning. And John, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Diane. I know that folks are excited about getting back together again and looking forward to having everyone back and moving on. So appreciate that. Thank you, Diane. Again, I cannot stress enough how blessed you are up there to have a great website with all of these activities and so many ways to engage with WREA. I would highly encourage you, and I will tell this to people all the time, share that website with your former coworkers, with retired educators, even with active educators that are close to retirement. Help them understand that there are resources out there that keep them connected to their retirement community, to their education community, and further their education and their benefits as they go forward as well. Just a quick reminder, my name is John Green with Association Member Benefits Advisors. I live a little bit north of Houston with my wife, who is a second grade teacher. She teaches in the same school that she and my 3 kids all went to elementary school in. I have spent the better part of my career working with active educators, helping them understand what the other side is like, what retirement years are like. And so I appreciate the opportunity to join you on these Wisconsin Wednesday webinars. And I'm also doubly blessed to be joined by our co-host and our district leader in Wisconsin, MJ Woodall. So MJ, why don't you introduce yourself, kind of tell the group about you as well.
Good morning, everyone. So MJ Woodall, I am the district manager and oversee the Wisconsin area as well as a few other states. I've got a great team of advisors that I get to work with that are out and about in various areas of the state so that we can make sure that we're there to help all of you. This is a picture of my husband and I. We went to the inaugural Stars and Stripes honor flight where we were able to help raise money for our veterans so that they could take the trip back and basically be honored in the way that they should be honored, which is really cool. I have two boys and my oldest is already working with us and my youngest is going to be coming on board more than likely in May. So you'll have like a whole Woodall family. The only thing I have to do is figure out how to get the my husband working and helping out and even the puppy. So anyways, that's a little bit about me, but really what we're here to do is make sure that we're able to help you understand, you know, what benefits are available to you, the discounts that you have, which are huge. And whether they're programs with us or programs from another area that you've, you know, purchased things from in the past, we are here to help you and make sure that you understand how those programs work so that when you need them, you have that available to you. So I'll turn it back to you, John.
Thank you, MJ. And sometimes in today's conversation, MJ will drop her phone number, email address in the chat. That way everyone can have that contact information as well if you do need something as well. So Diane touched on it a little bit, but I just want to reiterate that WREA is there for many facets in your career, whether you're active as an educator, retired educator, wherever your stage is. First and foremost, there to watch out for your pension, to make sure that there's not any issues out there, make sure that your pension stays strong, cost of living increases, preserving the benefits that you worked so hard for before you left the schoolhouse. And then, as you just saw earlier when Diane talked about it, we're excited about reconnecting face-to-face again, keeping you connected with your community, educators all across the state, whether we do it on these webinars, the fireside chats, book talks, in-person conventions, district conferences, things like that. And then as MJ kind of touched on a little bit, also providing you with discounts, benefits, things that you maybe left at the doorstep whenever you retired or things that you may never have had before and you now need them. The WREA is your resource for those things. And by having AMBA and WREA together, many WREA members tell us that they're appreciative because it filled some gaps in their benefits that were not covered by the state or by their school whenever they left the school. They were portable for whatever reason. If you leave the state, they were portable. If you left the school district, it didn't matter. We have several folks that join us from out of state and they've retired or they snowbird down in the South with us and they're able to use these benefits wherever they are because they're not tied to a network. But really two of the biggest benefits that WREA members share with us, they say they're appreciative because they can take their membership and their access to the benefits that they receive through WREA and extend them to family members, meaning to adult children that may have aged out of their benefits or to their parents who, if they're still living, and prepare for that because many teachers, after they leave the schoolhouse, they're eligible to retire, but they're not done working. And so they continue a second career after they leave the school and they still have the responsibility or may have the responsibility to take care of their parents. This, with proper planning, with some of the benefits from WREA, it may prevent you from having to stop your second career to take care of a parent so that you know that you've got peace of mind that your loved one is taken care of. We're going to talk about a lot of different things today, but really we're going to talk most importantly on how to protect your nest egg and a lot of confusion about what is a nest egg. And so we're going to discuss in our conversation today what makes up your nest egg. We're going to look at an article that I found a few years back from USA Today that talked about the 5 biggest threats to your nest egg and how you can protect your nest egg against those threats to give you peace of mind. And then what WREA has done to step up to maybe give you some endorsed options that could protect you as well. So let's go ahead and jump right in here and just kind of talk at a big picture about a stable retirement. Most of you are living in that retirement arena right now. And it's always been positioned to me that retirement is like a 3-legged stool. You've got your teacher retirement system, your pension in there. You've got Social Security, and then you've got other savings. You remove any one of those 3 legs, and that stool is a little more wobbly than maybe you anticipated. And whether you planned throughout your career, whether you did something in other savings, 403B, something like that outside of your retirement system and your Social Security, that's dependent upon you, but we can help make sure that those legs are strong. And how you understand each one of those legs working together is important to having a stable retirement. But what makes up your nest egg? And I want to be real clear about this because there's a lot of confusion that you hear about this. You see it on TV, protecting your nest egg. You see 100 different commercials from different people saying, hey, do this, do that kind of stuff like that. What is your nest egg is your active pension. So if you're drawing a pension right now, or you're an active educator working towards a pension, your pension is not your nest egg. Your pension, if done properly, is something you can never outlive. Okay, so that's a good news from your pension standpoint. And what I understand, you have a very strong pension system in Wisconsin. So your active pension is not part of your nest egg. Your spouse's or your Social Security is not part of your nest egg as well. That's another leg of your retirement stool, but that's not a nest egg. Your mattress money, or what my grandparents used to call the mattress money, or the Folgers can money in the backyard kind of stuff like that. Your emergency money is not your nest egg. So it's that money. Sometimes if you follow Dave Ramsey, he talks about having 3 to 6 months of income for your household expenses, things like that. That's what I'm calling in there. That's not truly your mattress money. That's emergency money. And then some people may have structured settlements. These could be insurance claims, something like that, or a payout from some type of lawsuit settlement, something like that. That's not necessarily a nest egg. Those things are structured. They're going to get a certain amount of payments for a certain number of years. So what makes up a nest egg? Think those things that you did or that someone in your family did at some point to save money aside from those pension, Social Security things that you did there. So think 403Bs that you may have done, which is very common for educators. Someone came in your school, set up a 403B plan where you contributed a little bit of money every month out of your paycheck, and it grew over a period of time. 401K is the equivalent in the private sector world out there that you or your spouse may have. An IRA could be out there, just an individual retirement account that you have on your own. It's pre-tax money that's sitting out there. It could be even a Roth IRA, after-tax money that you have sitting out there. And some cash balance pension plans. These are very different from the pension plan that most educators have. And most, I would say, old school industries. A lot of times, think your auto industries, things like that, insurance companies had standard pension plans, which when you retired, you received a set amount of money every month the rest of your life. Some companies moved to a cash balance pension plan that simply applied a formula that said, for every year that you're working, you're going to get X% of your income dropped into a cash balance pension plan that when you leave the company, the onus is on you, the individual, to put that money to work for your retirement. With the pension plan, the way that your pension works, you're not responsible for making sure how that works and what's invested in and all that kind of stuff. It's going to pay you forever. With a cash balance pension plan, when you leave a company, you're responsible for what you do with that money. So cash balance pension plan is part of a nest egg. Then think your normal CDs, certificates of deposit, savings accounts, money market accounts, things like that, and inheritances that you may receive in cash, or it could be in land or a house or something like that. That's what makes up your nest egg. And that's what we're going to talk about today when we talk about what do you do to protect your nest egg. And this article it's probably going on 6 years now, and it really hasn't changed that much. There's an article that talked about your 5 biggest threats to your retirement. And when I say your retirement, whether you're going into retirement or whether you're already into retirement, those 5 biggest threats of scrambling up your nest egg are taking care of elderly parents, the death of a spouse without life insurance, what I call boomerang children, and we'll address that in a moment, a medical crisis, and then finally, overexposure to the stock market as you age. And so we're going to jump into each one of these conversations and kind of show some stats behind it, kind of make you aware of each potential threat, and then show you a couple of endorsed solutions and talk about those from your perspective. So these are things that maybe you want to discuss with a spouse, discuss with your children as well. So think about taking care of elderly parents, whether you're the elderly parent or whether you still have parents. 73% of all long-term care is given in a home by an informal caregiver who receives no compensation. So what that quote basically means is that when we take care of our parents, or you, the parent, more than likely, without proper planning, someone is going to have to stop their career, stop their earning potential for their retirement to take care of you or to take care of a loved one. And that's a pretty significant chance that you're going to lose large earning potential over your lifetime. So if you're already retired and you say, well, I've got to take care of my elderly mother, it could impact you in regards to any part-time jobs that you have, things like that. But the cost of care could eat away at your retirement savings. And you can't just call the pension board and say, send me more money, I've got to take care of mom, that kind of thing. That's really a huge threat, is being able to take care of elderly parents. You see those numbers on there. More than likely, it's usually the daughter in the family or daughter-in-law, something like that, a female woman that retires too early because she's got to provide for care for an elderly parent or an in-law. They can lose on average $324,000 in earning potential over that time period. A man can lose close to $300,000, and it can really put a crimp on future retirement, whether it is your children's retirement or your plans and how that you do that. So taking care of an elderly parent is probably the number one reason that a nest egg is scrambled, because you weren't prepared for it. MJ and I have both shared experiences that we've had with our parents in regards to how some sort of a long-term care need that they had was taken care of through long-term care insurance, that they had a plan in place. It was able to provide for their care and didn't put the family at risk financially, didn't have to cause major changes in earning potential for the surviving spouse, for children, things like that. So there are some possible solutions, WREA endorsed, long-term care, home health care, or recovery care plans. I would encourage you, if you haven't joined us in the past on some of our long-term care 101 and 201 conversations, we break down each one of those scenarios, kind of show you what a typical plan looks like, some of the new solutions out there. One of the ones that I like the most right now, is one that my brother and I are in the process of acquiring from my mother, who's 81 years old, is what I call let's keep mom at home for 1 year plan, that allows us to get a lump sum of money that we can use for my mother's care for at least a year, that we can have someone move in with her to take care of her, just to watch out she's not a fall risk, or she's not something that she hurts herself, can do some light housekeeping, things like that, that would allow my brother and I to prepare her house, things like that, if she does need to move into more assisted care or nursing care. So some really neat plans that are out there for that. And MJ and her team can help you understand that, but there's so many different options out there. And last time we talked with some folks that were on our webinars on long-term care, it was probably about 40 to 50% of the group had some type of a plan. So if you've got a plan, I'd encourage you to review that with MJ, because she can help you understand where those gaps may be. And you may be perfectly covered, but you may have a little bit of a gap up front that you can take care of as well. The second biggest thing that we find that really can scramble a nest egg is a spouse passing away without life insurance. And some of the industry studies have shown that 2 in 5 Americans would feel some sort of a pinch within 6 months of a spouse passing away, without having to do any type of dipping into savings, retirement savings to pay for medical expenses, college savings, housing, things like that. Life insurance can provide that feature outside of any taxes, passes outside of any estate, anything like that, and gives that cash to you up front. So there are some WREA endorsed plans out there, some final expense whole life that will pay for the cost of those final expenses, some guaranteed issue life, some plans that maybe if you're a little bit older, have a medical condition, something like that, can still give you peace of mind that at least the cost related to the final expenses of a spouse passing away would be taken care of, or you wouldn't have to maybe dip into your nest egg or crack that nest egg if someone did pass away in the family. A medical crisis is one that we see quite often, and Medicare is a phenomenal plan. Private insurance has pretty good coverage out there, but even with that, what we see is that a medical crisis or medical bills are still the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States, because certain percentages, depending upon the procedure, depending upon heart attack, cancer, stroke, something like that, many of the expenses of the recovery are not covered. And in the case of cancer, 60% of the expenses are not covered by Medicare or by any insurance. And so while you're going to the doctor, while the initial surgery, those type of things, there may be significant coverage, larger deductibles, co-pays, balanced billing can really jump up and bite you in some of these areas. And that can eat away at retirement savings, that nest egg, things that you weren't expecting. And when it comes to the top 3 senior related health issues, heart disease and cancer are 2 of those top 3 out there. And so those things can really eat away at that. And then a chronic condition can hinder your earning potential. If you're in that second job, some type of chronic condition could keep you from having the ability to earn money as you go into your retirement years or live through your retirement years. Thankfully, there are some options out there. There are some plans that pay you a lump sum if you have a cancer diagnosis, a heart attack, or a stroke, that can help offset the significant portion of those expenses. It gives you money that you can use regardless of what the medical bills are. If you need to use it for medical bills, that's fine. If you want to use it just simply for transportation costs, for comfort items in your home, to provide for a son or daughter or grandson or granddaughter to come stay with you, that type of thing, you can do that as well. There are some recovery plans. There are accident plans out there for slip and falls. MJ shared a story of one of her members that had a slip and fall and had to spend 3 months in a recovery center. Cost her $30,000+ for that. And then even some of the costs related to transportation to and from the hospital. Emergency transportation can get quite expensive. There's plans that the WREA endorses on your behalf through MASSA that can cover that cost 100%. Number 4 is boomerang children. And more households today are having adult children move back in with them. Whether it's the economy, whether it's student loans, whether it's failure to launch, whatever it is, more and more families are living multi-generations in the family. And the stats that jumped out at me, that 52% of the boomer households, so those that are mostly in their retirement age, with somebody that's living in their house with them, an adult child, they are not fully retired. So it's difficult to fully retire when you have someone that moved into you. So 52% that don't have anybody living with them are fully retired, but only 21% who have a child that moved back in with them are fully retired. So that can be difficult. You may be paying off student loans for your children, other expenses you weren't expecting to do, and that can crack a nest egg. Unfortunately, I don't have a solution for that. That scares me. I've got 3 children that are in their 20s, and they're all gainfully employed or in college. I don't anticipate it, but if they did have to move back in, we would take them back in. We jokingly say we're going to lock the door when you graduate, that kind of stuff like that. One way that maybe you can make this work for both of you is have them promise to be your caregiver if something did arise that you had that need there. So boomerang children can be a challenge. It can be something that's out there and can really scramble that nest egg there. Now we got a question in here: is life insurance necessary if there's no mortgage and no consumer debt? And I think that's Lene. Hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, Lene. That's a great question. And what you'll find is that a lot of folks will say, well, if I have none of these things, then do I really need life insurance? I can take both sides to that, to be honest with you, because there are some final expenses that if you've got saved up, then you can pay for that, final expense, that type of situation that way. The other thing I like to say, that from a life insurance perspective, you can use it for the final expenses, or you can use it to create a legacy. So whether there's a true need there to protect your expenses, but what you also find out too is oftentimes Social Security gets cut back a little bit. Maybe sometimes the pension stops if you weren't anticipating a pension stopping. It may replace some of those pieces of income that you weren't expecting to lose. What we see sometimes, and I know Diane and I, or MJ and I have both seen this, is that if you've got a couple of family members or husband and wife, and they're both on a pension plan, but one pension plan didn't wasn't set up to give survivor benefits. And that's a biggie. Oftentimes that you'll say, hey, I need the maximum amount of money I can get in my pension, but when I pass away, there's no survivor benefit, or it reduces to 50%. Well, a lot of those expenses don't stop even if a spouse passes away. So it's important to review what your pension, what your Social Security looks like in that need for life insurance. So Lene, I can't tell you that your question is a no, because there are many people that have done just like you have, no debt, no mortgage. They've got a, 5,000-10,000 set aside for some type of a funeral, final expenses, and they can motor on, but they weren't anticipating some type of a plan there. So, okay. And so she's asking another question that we will try to address here. So our strategy is to take the $180 a month for our term life and put it into Roth and traditional IRAs. That's, this is not designed to be an individual strategy webinar. That could be a good strategy in there once you've got that paid off. The challenge that I see, and this is where I love term life insurance. I love term life insurance because it protects us during that particular time in life. What my concern is that maybe you stop that term life insurance and start to contribute the $180 and something happens 1 month later. And you've got $180 in your Roth, and you could have had 200,000 in cash, that type of thing. So consider maybe a mix as that goes in there. Look and see if you can maybe take a reduced paid up feature in your policy, something like that. And MJ can help you out with that. But that's some great questions, Lene. I appreciate that. Super things that go in there in that conversation around life insurance, because as we age, the need does change. It absolutely changes. And if you really take care of all your finances at home and you don't necessarily want to leave a legacy to a school or a church, or you've got something you're going to pass down to your grandkids, life insurance funds or funds for that can be used for other things. Just make sure that you've got that protection that you have. Again, that's what MJ and the team from AMBA can do to review that. But I like that strategy you've got, Lene, but to make sure somebody just gets a second look at it for you. All right. The fifth and final thing I want to go into, and I want to go into this more in depth because it changes all the time, and that's overexposure to the stock market as we age. If you started a 403B back in the 90s or in the 80s, whenever you started teaching, started throwing $25, $30 in there, that kind of stuff like that, you saw it grow over time, the ups and downs of the stock market. The problem is timing out that nest egg money. Can you afford to take a hit to your retirement savings when you can't catch up to get that money back? Those of you who go back to 2008, 2009 and the housing crash, when you saw a 48% drop in the market, some people said, that's fine, I can outgrow that. And it's grown significantly since. Others who retired at that point and needed to go on a fixed income or take that money and put it into something that was a little less risky, they just had half their money lopped off there. So a plan to protect your money is vitally important as you age because of so many different reasons. And let's kind of walk through some history here, bring you to the current, and then show you some options that could be out there for you. There have been a dozen bear markets since World War II, where the market has declined over 30% in 14 months and taken at least 2 years to recover. Now, we don't know if we're in that bear market right now. We know that the stock market has been going up and down and up and down. And so with that money, especially in retirement, do we have 2 years for it to recover? Do I have time to get this recovered? Because I've been enjoying that up for so long now. If something really drops out, what's going to happen? Where do I protect my money? How do I keep that from scrambling my nest egg? Back whenever COVID first came out last year, or not last year, 2 years ago now. It's crazy to believe it's been 2 years since this happened. The Dow lost 37% of its value. And so investors watched in 2 weeks, 30% of their income was wiped out. Their retirement savings was wiped out. The good news, your pension never changed. The bad news is you had a significant drop in that IRA money, had a significant drop in your 403Bs, 401Ks. The good news, it came back up. Well, first of this year, the calendar turns and the stock market is going back and forth and crazy. And this is, I took a snapshot on the 24th when it dropped $1,000 points in one day, And so that kind of stuff, if I was in my retirement years, I'd be a little concerned that Do I have time to make it up? Do I have time to, stay ahead of inflation, that kind of stuff like that? Because inflation is really eating things up these days. Inflation rose 7.9% in February. So at a time whenever the costs are going up, the value of our nest egg is going down, we look to go to safe harbors. We look to go to CDs. We look to go to money market accounts. Well, I don't know if it was like in Wisconsin, but I can't get anything over half a point, anywhere down here. We're chasing $100 bonuses to put money into a CD. And it doesn't even stay, you're basically putting in $1,000 and it's worth $79 less, the next day, because inflation is eating that up. You see it at the gas pump, those type of things. It's difficult to stay ahead of the current stock market situation, the current savings rate situation, but you still need your nest egg there protected when you need it. You need your nest egg there protected for growth. You need your nest egg protected against losses, especially in your retirement years, because you don't have necessarily the time to make it back up. And there could be some options out there for you. And one of the solutions could be a tax deferred savings plan, asset protection plan, sponsored by or endorsed by the WREA, where you never run out of income. It is a plan that provides you income and safety throughout your entire life. Most people aren't afraid of dying, but almost 60% of us are afraid of running out of money in our retirement because of all those things we talked about in the scrambling your nest egg there. The tax deferred asset protection plan that we're talking about allows you to get the upside of the market without any downside risk, gives you access to competitive returns. It protects you from those big 1,000-point drops and things like that you saw earlier, gives you that peace of mind that you have it there. One of the things that I like about it, though, and this is why MJ and I have this plan, first of all, if you've got some health conditions and you think, well, I need long-term care, or I may want to hold on to my money for something else, there's no underwriting in this particular plan, meaning you can't be disqualified based on your health, your family history. My father's family history of dementia will not impact me. It gives me the ability, like I mentioned, to get upside potential with no downside risk, but I love the long-term care benefits inside of it. It gives me the ability that if I do have a long-term care situation or a need, I can take money out with no penalty, or if I've already started to receive my payments every month and I do need to go to a long-term care facility, I can double my payments. So it allows for extra protection, extra peace of mind that I'm not going to lose any money, that I can participate in the upside of the stock market, but I've got these underlying long-term care benefits. And what I did with my cash balance pension plan from a former employee was took that money that was sitting with the former employee earning almost nothing there, put it into this plan, and it gives me the peace of mind that my wife and I are taking care of from a long-term care perspective. And if the stock market goes up, that's great. I get some money off of it, but if it goes down, I don't lose any money. So that's an opportunity that's out there for you. It is backed up by a corporation called Emeritus. They're one of the strongest, oldest providers in the country. They've been around for 134 years. And it's a great way to take some of that money that you were maybe having a CD or in an IRA. You can use qualified money or non-qualified money, savings accounts where you're earning nothing or you're losing money, something like that, and put it into something that you can't lose money, that you've got this extra protection on top of that as well. Because we've got to prepare for a lot more years of living. Studies will show that once you reach age 70, every year you live beyond 70 actually adds 2 more years to your life. So if you live to 90, you've got to think about inflation. For the first time in years, we've talked about inflation significantly. Life changes. We've talked about spouses passing away, health conditions, things like that. Things that the good news is technology and advanced screenings and things like that can help prevent or help us recover quicker. The bad news is because we live longer, we still have to deal with the expenses related to that. And then we come with the care and recovery and things of that nature as well. So we've got a lot more years to live. You want to make sure that you keep your nest egg intact and that something like this overexposure to the stock market or a health issue doesn't scramble your nest egg going forward. So Any questions here? I think we've got a couple that have popped in on chat here, or I think MJ has responded to that. If you've got a specific question, I'll show you this QR code down here in the bottom right-hand corner. You can take your smartphone, open up your camera on your smartphone and hover over that QR code. I'm going to show you the process in a moment. I'll give you the QR code again, but it'll open up a little form for you. And that form, you can select some things that you want to find out about. MJ and her team can follow up with you as well. So let me show you how that process, even if you've already opened up your camera, we're going to get back to the QR code in just a moment, kind of show you what that looks like. So when you hover over that QR code, a little yellow box is going to pop up on your camera. You don't have to do anything because at the top of that screen on your phone will pop up that website QR code. All you have to do is hit that with your finger. You're going to see this form here that says learn about your benefits available through your association. You can select a review. You can talk about long-term care. You can type in tax deferred plan, whatever you want to do that you want to find out about. You can scroll down and put Wisconsin Retired Educators Association, fill out your information, hit send. It comes back to us in 5 minutes, and MJ and her team will take care of you right away. Be glad to help you out on that. All right, we're in the process of building the second quarter calendar. If you've got ideas on topics you want to learn about, please let us know. Feel free to drop it into chat if you want to do that today. Let Diane, Lori, and Annalise and the team know what topics you want to talk about. We'd be glad to build webinars for you to share those with you as well. So always checking that. Look at the WREA website. Look for the emails that come out, social media posts, that kind of stuff as well. And tell people about these webinars. Tell your friends, your former coworkers about these webinars. It's a great way to introduce them to WREA, the benefits of WREA, and the benefits of staying connected as a community, and what WREA does on your behalf there. So, and so just finally wrap this up. If you've got questions, again, there's that QR code at the bottom. If you're joining us on your phone or on a tablet, then what you want to do is you want to email me at john.green@amba.info. Just put your name and number in there and say, hey, I had a question about this. We'll make sure that MJ or somebody on her team gets taken care of you as well on that. So if you've got questions, feel free. I'm going to stop recording right now. I'm going to we already